Welcome, everybody. My name is Arjun Roy, producer, recordist, mix engineer, coming at you from Grande Prairie, Alberta, my hometown. We're recording at Better Than Fred's, fine bar, live venue, purveyor of delicious barbecues. And this is episode 3 of a series of unedited conversations that I'm calling The Hometown Hustle. This deals really with my artistic journey through the arts and music scene in the Peace Country in the early 2000s onwards, and all of the people who helped me get where I am today. Today I'm thrilled to have on the podcast Bevin Booth, musician, producer, extraordinaire, all-around good guy. Bevin, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Man, thank you for doing this. When I came up with this idea, or when I decided I had the time to do this kind of a thing, obviously you were top in terms of lists of people I wanted to chat with,
Well, thanks. I remember, sure. I think it was like a year ago.
Okay.
We were having lunch and you were like, man, I really want to do podcasts and interview all my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. And here we are.
And here we are.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, much like actually that conversation in particular was great for a variety of reasons. I mean, aside from just catching up and chatting about, not just like the music end of things, just life and,
Yeah, totally.
personal stuff or whatever.
Absolutely.
I just found so much value in the conversations that I had with yourself and everybody else that I would run into and then, have coffee with, that kind of thing, from everyone from, again, yourself to Al Peterson, who's been on, to Brandon, to whoever else.
Awesome.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in the hindsight, I think, 10, 15 years later, how much ever later it is.
Yeah, totally.
From some of those things. So why don't we start chronologically with this one?
All right.
Bevin, tell me about you, man. Where were you born? Were you born here?
I was born here.
Okay.
GP.
Yep.
Yeah. 1988.
Mm-hmm. It's a good year.
Yeah, it was a great year. What came out that year? And Justice for All came out that year. That was a good one.
Awesome.
I can't remember what the hit song was when I was born, but
Oh, that's a
thing. I think it was Prince
absolutely.
or something something
Beautiful.
Like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
I can't remember what song, but yeah.
Did you? Where did you guys live at the time? Did you guys live in the house that
Yeah.
I?
Yeah,
went
down
to
on
when
the
I
east
first-
side there. That's where I grew up. My parents lived in a little cottage or something out by the dunes, where the Dunes golf course is now.
Oh, okay.
When they moved here back in, I want to say the early 80s.
Okay.
And that's when they had my oldest sister, Emily.
Yeah. Where did they move from?
From Trout Creek, Ontario.
Oh, wow. Okay.
North Ontario, yeah.
Are they from there originally?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's where
What brought them out here? Do you know?
Work.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I think my dad was a carpenter, so he came out here to build stuff because they're building,
Of
building
course.
a lot. They still are. So
Definitely.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You are the youngest of 3 kids.
Yep.
Emily's the oldest. Julie's the middle.
That's right.
And then you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. My first, I feel like the first person in your family who I met, it was either Emily or Julie or both of them.
Right.
And, I just remember, some of my best, kind of memories of music here, or earliest ones were, I think probably Emily, Julie, and Kaylee maybe, performing, singing together, harmonizing. And it was just
Totally.
a beautiful sound,
Oh, man, absolutely.
And then when did we meet? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was around the time No One's Alone kind of dissolved.
Oh, okay.
And,
Got it.
It was kind of in the last days of that.
Yeah.
When I think it was, when Kaylee singing for No One's Alone? Or
Yeah,
something? Yeah, that's right.
We tried to pivot, and that was a thing for a little while.
And Justin, who you had on here, was drumming.
Yep.
And I think that was when I kind of met you.
Yep.
Because you guys played here.
Okay. Yep.
And all I remember is Justin was pretty drunk, and there was this girl hitting on him, and he's just I don't know if I should talk to her. And we're just yeah, dude, just go. I don't know if it was his wife now or I can't remember, but yeah, that's the memory I have of meeting you. And
wow, okay.
And then we're hanging out with Sean Zumbush.
Right.
And you guys had your was it Death Before Dishonor, that band?
Oh, gosh, yes. That time we briefly were called Death Before Dishonor, which, Now, obviously, like a Google search will show you that you can't do that.
You can't do that. Yeah.
I feel like this was 2005, so maybe we could have done that at that time, but
Yeah.
it seemed like a good idea at the time
Pretty
anyway.
popular phrase now.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Who were you playing with around that time, like 2005-ish?
2005, I was playing with two bands, I think, still. So I was playing with Singed,
Oh,
those guys.
who else was in that band?
With, Jason Fritzky,
Right.
Jeff
Wood. Yep.
and Mitchell Walker.
Oh, okay.
Mitchell, what's his new band called? They're really good.
Yeah.
They're so good. I mastered their last EP, and it's like doom
Really?
metal. It's really good. He's singing and playing
yeah.
guitar, and it's just him and a drummer, and it's like it's really
man.
good stuff.
The duo, the Doom
Oh,
duo.
man.
That's great.
Can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
But good stuff. But yeah, played
Singed.
with
Okay.
those guys.
Yep.
We were playing, what would you call it? Alternative rock.
Yeah, absolutely.
and then playing with Chris Guthrie and Jeremy Gustafson in what were
Right.
we called? We were called Grounds to Fall, I think was our final name.
That's right. Grounds to Fall.
And then we kind of dissolved right in the end of that year, and Chris went to play with you guys with
Right.
Death Before Dishonor. And then Justin left the band.
Yep.
And then Chris was like, "Yeah, let's get Bevin in on the
Totally.
band," and then that's how we started playing together.
Right.
Yeah,
Interesting. I'm trying to think back because I remember. I must have seen you with both Singed and Ground to Fall because musically there were
Yeah.
two very different sounds.
totally.
And both projects sounded really good. I mean, it's really the case where you guys had practiced a bunch. You had a sense of
Yeah.
who you were artistically.
Right.
And I remember, noticing your drumming. Like you're a very musical drummer. I don't know how else to put it. It's,
Yeah, I
it's
guess
about
so.
as close as I can get. Lyrical, evocative. I don't know. Just I really appreciated what you did. And so I remember you from those acts. Now, we should jump back a little bit and talk about
Sure.
your musical development. How did you get into music? I mean, obviously
yeah.
your family's very musical,
Yeah.
so like I'm sure that that was happening.
Yeah, very musical family. At a very, very young age, probably around 4 or 5, I started to display interest in drums, just hitting stuff. And
Parents love that.
Yeah, I think I was like maybe watching Much Music or something as a kid, just being like,
yeah.
I want to do that. And so my parents were like, okay, well, let's jump on this. So
That's great.
yeah, I think I was around 5 or 6 when I got my first pair of drumsticks, and we had this old leather suitcase that I would smash away on and listen to.
Awesome.
My dad was in a cover band.
Okay.
When I was that age, they're playing like old rock classics, like mostly Canadian stuff, so like Tragically Hip and
Awesome.
Kim Mitchell and stuff like that. And so he would bring home these tapes that he'd have to practice to because he was playing bass in this band. And then I'd like take them. They were just in the tape player, and I'd listen to them. I'm like, man, this is like awesome. It was rock.
Yep.
It was rock in the house because like my parents didn't really listen to rock like that. They were more into like older rock like The Who or Steely Dan, that kind of stuff. Guess Who. So yeah, that was like my first taste of a more harder 80s kind of rock,
Right.
and early 90s. So yeah, that's kind of where I'd listen to that stuff and I just like use my sticks and just play with it, and then kind of started like getting more in sync with the music, and
Okay.
that's kind of where that was, like the initial timing development and listening to the band and that kind of thing came pretty early from that kind of stuff. And then as I got older, I think the next year, I was about 7, I got my first drum set, which was donated from a drummer that my dad played with in another band. And she got it from, it was like an old church kit.
Okay.
The church got a new kit, so I got this old one. And it was great. There's some good pieces in that kit. I should have kept it. But as far as I know, my friend Jules and his brother play in a band, and they still have it, and they're still playing gigs with it and stuff.
Which Jules? La Prairie or
Yeah,
someone
Jules
else?
La Prairie, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Man, I'm so bad. I'd give their band a shout out, but
Do you want to Google him real quick? Like, by all means, go ahead.
let me look it up. But
That's
anyways,
cool. Yeah.
so that's where I got my first drum set.
Okay.
And I mean, we lived, two sisters,
Yep.
a small 3-bedroom house, bungalow. No basement really, just like
Yeah.
a dirt cellar. So yeah, I'd play drums when I could, when people weren't watching TV and that kind of thing. But because of that lack of space, I played air drums more than anything, because I could just listen to music I wanted to listen to, but I'd still like drum with it. I just hit the air, and really that's where I would say 60% of my chops came from, was not even hitting anything. So
Right.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Jumping back real quick, when you were sort of playing on the leather suitcase and learning, did you have a sense of like your feet moving as well? Or was it, you were kind of hitting the main beats with your hands and that was it?
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of have this memory of when I was, 6 years old. I was just playing air drums to something, and I was noticing like my feet were starting to move with it.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is developing. Like I didn't even really have any clue of what was going on, but it was just started to happen from there. But yeah, I do remember at some point where I noticed everything was kind of starting to move.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Very neat.
yeah.
Do you have the Jules band pulled
The
up?
Wild Elms.
The
Check 'em
Wild
out.
Elms.
Yeah.
What a great name.
I think they're from Calgary, I think. Or in that
Jules
area.
lives in Calgary now?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, YYC, that's right.
Cool.
Wild Elms. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook. They're good dudes.
Awesome. That's great. Remember, Jules was a sensational bassist.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I heard him at GP Music one day. I was walking around looking for who knows what.
Yeah.
Picks, maybe just wasting time looking at instruments and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard somebody playing slap bass and just with just a killer groove. And I thought, who is this person, And it was like Jules, and I just remember him being short and fairly skinny at the time. I'm sure he's still skinny.
He's a skinny boy.
And just slapping away, man. It was a great sound.
Yeah, we listened to so much Primus in high school.
Oh, of course.
Man, yeah, we jammed that a lot. Yeah, we
Oh my gosh.
when we were in high school, that was our little high school band with our friend Riley.
Okay.
And yeah, we played lots of Metallica and Primus, and what else did we play? A little bit of Megadeth,
Cool.
Those thrashy bands.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of bands, tell me about some bands that you were into when you were young. Like, from the age that you were, again, air drumming, getting into some of these bands that your dad was practicing up for his band and
yeah, for
all
sure.
that kind of thing.
From those tapes, there was Tragically Hip and Kim Mitchell and that kind of thing, that kind of stuff. But yeah, as I got my own tapes, I think the starters for me were there was Green Day, there was Dookie. I had Dookie on tape. I had the Blue Album by Weezer.
Awesome.
What was that? Presidents of the United States of America.
It's so good.
The goofy kind
Of
of
course.
Kid Rock, those guys did. Where they played, what do they call their instruments? The bass guitar and the guitar bass.
Yeah.
That's what they called it. I don't
Yep.
even know what they were, but man, they're great. Good band.
So good, man.
And then as I kind of developed my taste, I got into Primus. Pretty young age. I was given a CD from my sister.
Cool.
Which was, a game changer. Like Pearl Jam, Dave Matthews Band, which that's where I really started to like
Carter.
Like, man, you can be a good drummer and play weird stuff and just go crazy. That's just like that. That was pretty pivotal for me for sure. And then as I got into junior high, it's like Rage Against the Machine and Sepultura and got heavier,
Yeah, for sure.
Static X. I used to listen to them a lot.
Gosh, what a great band.
Yeah.
It was like an anniversary for Wisconsin Death Trip right now. I think it's the 20th
That's
anniversary.
right. Yeah.
Also, if you haven't checked it out, Warren Hewart in one of his web series. it's like one of those Rick Beato things where he sits with an engineer and they open up the multi-tracks of something.
Oh, no way.
But they do one for Push It.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
really
I
cool,
gotta check
man.
that out.
It might be Ulrich Wilde, but I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I can't remember who did that one, but yeah, Warren is such a cool guy.
Absolutely.
I love what he's doing.
Totally.
It's really good. Yeah.
Definitely. Check that out. I mean,
Yeah.
everything else in the series is amazing. I mean, they
Totally.
touch on, like, Don't Fear the Reaper, for example.
Oh,
stuff
I
like
think
that.
I did see a clip
Okay.
of that. That's right. I
Got
saw
it.
it on Instagram. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, the Static X one is great.
Oh, man. Sweet.
Question.
Yeah.
In terms of Carter's playing, for example,
Yeah.
given what you were into and the kind of things that you were playing at the time, what
Mm-hmm.
stood out about his approach? Just the way he played. What grabbed you, and what did you sort of maybe take with you from listening to that?
The fact that you could really go off the grid and express yourself that way, like, what did I really notice? Like, trying to think as a child, like, playing your ride cymbal, like, just not on 2 and 4
Yeah,
or whatever. You're
yeah.
like really going
Yeah.
off and doing like crazy little rhythmic things, and then, I guess he's a big kind of like soul and like
Yeah.
R&B kind of style. Well, like even jazz fusion, you could say. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just such a wacky band, but
Yep.
but yeah, I think that was just like opened up so many doors. Like, yeah, and like used a lot of double bass. That was kind of my first taste of that
Yep.
too. But yeah, I don't know, just really finding your place in the spaces of the song where you can really, show off.
Got it.
I
Yep.
just thought that was so cool at the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that band in a long time. I think it's been too long, in fact. Like, they're one of those bands that people love to make fun of for a while,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's easy to forget just how huge they were.
Yeah.
I remember first moving to Canada, and they were kind of on the up and up. And then I think I heard So Much to Say
Yeah.
and Crash, right?
Yeah, Crash,
and
the
that
album
record
specifically is what I had, yeah.
was so good.
It
And
was so good.
I had friends who, were going to Edmonton when I wasn't into the band, or when I was first getting into them. They'd be going to sold out shows in Edmonton, Calgary, driving from like Hay River, down to Edmonton, Calgary, or whatever, or going to Vancouver or something to see Dave Matthews Band play. And
Right.
I remember specifically, I think, hearing a bunch of their live recordings,
Right.
because I think they'd put out some live records at that time, or maybe
Yeah.
one or something like that.
They did, yeah.
And just being blown away at, again, just their sound, first of all,
Totally.
their chemistry, and then their willingness to just kind of stretch out in a live show.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Great band, man.
Absolutely.
Good grief. So you're in high school, getting into some heavier music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, high school was, big changes. Basically, it was just metal at that point, really.
Oh, sure.
And so, like, I don't know, some of the bigger bands for me in that time period were definitely like, Arch Enemy was probably the biggest drumming influence.
Right.
And yeah, if you hear me play metal drums, I'm just ripping them off. Like, that's all I don't. Well, I guess I have my own style,
Yeah.
but I stole it from
Daniel.
Daniel Erlinson.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Again, speaking of awesome musicians, I mean,
Oh,
Daniel
totally.
and Adrian. I mean,
Oh, man.
what a
Those guys.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Incredible couple of musicians.
So good. Yeah. Yeah. And then, a lot of Swedish bands.
Yeah.
The Haunted was a big one for me. And that was
cool.
that wasn't more technical. Like, the riffs were killer, obviously. But like more of a like emotional impact with those guys. Just so
certainly
dirty and dark, and it's almost like a hardcore band.
Totally.
I think a lot in the vocals, but so much, so thrashy, so Slayer, but so dark and gritty. Just like, I don't know, so cool. I love those guys.
Really, really cool band. Did you get into sort of the greater, like, Gothenburg scene at the time, or did that come later?
I kind of, like, I didn't know what it was, but I was
Right.
already in it. So, At the Gates and In Flames, Entombed, I think Entombed's from there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All the heavy hitters.
Yeah, totally.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and like, and then then Meshuggah came.
Oh, of course.
And that was, I wouldn't say like, it's definitely an influence on my playing and whatnot, but more so it's just something that was so interesting to listen to, and just always had me like listening like really hard, like what are they doing?
Totally.
To the point where I've like memorized it, just every song and how they move and whatnot.
Yeah.
But just so fascinating. And so heavy, like the heaviest band
Absolutely.
I've ever
in
heard.
existence.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, even to this day, I mean, nobody does what they do the way they do it.
Yeah,
You know, they're
totally.
just one of those bands who,
Yeah.
they are their own thing, man.
And like, who would have thought like the heaviest band or one of the heaviest bands would get me into like crazy jazz fusion? Because, you know, like the whole Alan Holdsworth.
Of course. All those
inspiration.
leads, dude. Yeah.
So tasty.
So good.
And I mean, just I really like music where the drums and guitars are just really syncopated together.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like I really liked Fear Factory when I was in junior
yeah,
high,
dude.
and like
Did you get into demanufacture first or something else? Because I'm sure that, you know,
I heard the first stuff I heard was from Digimortal, which is
okay.
like not their most liked album as far as I've heard. It was pretty overproduced, or some people say, but it was just heavy, fast bass drums, fast guitars, and I was just like, this is what I need right now. But Demanufacture was like so good, so good. And then I guess I wouldn't say just metal in high school. They're like, I really got into 9 Inch Nails around that time too. And again, more of an emotional impact kind of band. And
Absolutely.
so just
I hear you.
So deep and dark as well.
Certainly.
I love dark and brutal stuff.
Yeah.
But,
That's interesting. There's a certain thread of, I don't know if maybe I can expand on the darkness end of things, but like there's a certain melancholy about them. Like for me anyway, I feel like I know what you mean in terms of the emotionality of some of those bands. And for me, what drew me to some of those acts specifically, again, was, you know, the emotional impact, the emotional release, the expression. You know, like
totally.
with some of those bands, they were all about expression, and I hadn't heard that in other music before. There was, you know, maybe heavy stuff, there was pop music, there was, you know, I don't know, other musics that covered certain emotions, but for me specifically with 9 Inch Nails, you know, it was like anything was possible. You could write music about anything, you can feel any way, and express that, and it's okay.
Totally. I'd have to say the one band I listened to back then that really kind of hit both worlds, technical and emotional, was Opeth, for sure.
Oh, yes.
They were like,
heck yeah.
They were a game changer for me, for sure. Just so talented.
Totally.
Just incredible. Yeah.
Another band that, you know, is so individualistic. You know, only
absolutely.
Opeth can do Opeth, I guess.
Absolutely.
What was your first exposure to them? What was the first thing you heard or saw?
My friend Mitchell Walker from Van Singed showed me them. He's like, "Have you heard the new Opeth?" I'm like, "No, I've never heard Opeth."
Right. Let alone the new one.
And he played some stuff. I'm like, "Man, this is really cool." And then he had his iPod right next to his computer. And so I looked up more Opeth on there and listened to Leper Affinity, the first track on Blackwater Park.
Of course.
And I was like, whoa. I was sold. It's just like that riff after the first verse. I was like, holy crap, that's so evil and just so cool. Just took you to a completely different place, you know?
Yeah. Was this, I mean, this is before, like, you know, the Ghost of Perdition era type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was around like a couple of months before that came out, but so I got Blackwater Park, or got into Blackwater Park, and then that just came out. And I'm like, oh, sweet, here we go. We got two killer albums.
Totally. That was an incredible time for music, and especially heavy music. I feel like in North America, you know, everything was peaking for heavy stuff at the time. You had aside from the new wave of American heavy metal, shall we say, you know, you had a lot of, like, I don't know what, sort of mainstream crossover groovy kind of metal bands, and then that created a space for bands like Opeth and
Yeah.
Arch Enemy and a lot of other acts like that to tour through the States and Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Much more than happens now, I think. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a fair statement to make, but
No,
I
I've
feel
noticed
like,
that. You know, it's like like everything now compared to back then. It's like everything's pretty oversaturated. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of new metal out there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of good stuff.
Yep.
But there's so much of it now,
Yeah.
and it's kind of. You could say it's a quality versus quantity kind of thing.
Totally.
I don't know. It's just like I could just be getting old, but I don't know that era, at least from from like 2002 to 2010 was just incredible era for music. Like
Definitely.
yeah,
There's the, and I don't know if you were into this at the time, but I think maybe this is what led me into musically what Calculating Collapse or Death Before Dishonor at the time did.
Right.
But there was like that, Orange County hardcore,
Yeah.
like really thrashy hardcore kind of scene.
Totally.
That for some reason that grabbed me like instantly, man. Like
Totally.
Bleeding Through, for example.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know what it was about it, but you
Yeah.
know, towards the end of the No One's Alone era, like I was just playing a lot of stuff that was heavier, maybe more technically challenging, or trying to compose things.
Right.
You know, that were
Yeah.
that was like that, and
Totally.
Bleeding Through, I think, was the gateway. You know, but
That's
that scene,
awesome.
Bleeding Through, Himsa, and a few other bands like that, into at least what I initially kind of figured Calculating Collapse / Death Before Dishonor would end up being.
Yeah.
So Singed, you got into Opeth from there. How were you getting into music at the time? Was it sort of a mixture of discovering music yourself, like at the CD store and stuff, hearing things? Did you sort of, discover bands on like Much Music, Much Loud, things like that?
Yeah, most of it was through word of mouth, through friends. Just like they bought CDs and they showed me stuff. That was where I mostly got it from. But like bands like The Haunted and some other heavier bands that I got into, it wasn't really through YouTube, because YouTube was not that big for music videos yet. Like it was very,
it was in
very
its infancy.
early. But
It's all bloggers or vloggers, I should say.
that's right. But Yahoo had this music website where they had videos play.
Yep.
And if you picked a metal video, it would just keep playing more metal videos. And you just keep watching it.
Yeah.
And that's one other way that I kind of found out about these bands, was just like, oh, this band's pretty sweet. I'll just, illegally download it.
Yeah, exactly. that was an incredible time for illegal downloading. I mean, suddenly you could do that. I mean, wow.
Now you don't have to pay much and just get whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, now nobody wants to pay for art at all.
Yeah, exactly. We're paying, but they're not getting it. So
Peanuts, yeah.
How's that work?
Yeah. I hear you, man.
But yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I did work at the CD store for a little while.
Oh,
but
right.
that was like kind of
when
in
we
the
were
middle
hanging.
of our band there. But that was another big gateway for finding new music.
Yeah.
And like expanding the metal area, like by 3 or 4 more rows.
Sure. Absolutely, man.
A lot of people were happy about it. Some people weren't. But
Of course. I remember things peaked when there was a separate metal section and a separate hardcore section. Remember
That's
that for
right.
a while?
Yeah.
There was enough interest
Yeah,
that they could be
exactly.
separated.
Right. Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So through high school, did you have bands? Like you mentioned, you played with Jules and Riley.
Yeah.
Did you have sort of official bands you played with, or was it more like a jam kind of a thing? And did you guys play like did talent shows happen? You know what I mean? Like what was that scene like at school?
Well, yeah, with Jules and Riley there, our friend Andrew on bass, we jammed a lot.
Yep.
We didn't play too many shows. I think we played 1 or 2.
Okay.
I definitely remember one at school. We played in the school gym for everybody. That was fun. I'm sure we did another one at like a party or some other kind of thing like that.
Yep.
But it was mostly just, having fun and just learning how to play with people and
Totally.
just being goofballs.
Of course.
But then, yeah, so that like, and we didn't really have a name. I think we were called C4 for a while. We made a website.
You made a website?
Yeah.
What?
I don't think it's
man.
up anymore. I think we used the GeoCities or whatever.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
An amazing time to be alive.
Absolutely. But
were you guys on MySpace at the time? Had that kind of
no,
picked
that
up?
wasn't
No.
even
Okay.
a thought.
Okay.
I don't even know if it was a thing yet, but no, not with those guys. And then, actually, kind of go back a little bit earlier to junior high. I played in a band with my friend Mike Morriso, who is an incredible jazz guitarist in Edmonton.
That's what I
now.
hear,
Oh,
yeah.
he's
When I moved
so
to
good.
town, I took lessons with James Oldenburg for a while. And
Right.
I think James maybe had taught Mike, or they had...
Yeah, I think he
something together?
taught him a little bit too. I know Scott
Yeah.
Kerr taught him quite a bit as well.
Right. Scott, that's
but
right.
yeah, from junior high, he was already a pretty premium player.
Wow,
So I was
okay.
pretty lucky to play with somebody
Yeah.
like that. And we played one show with our friends. I think we were called Stash.
Nice.
So I was in grade 7.
Mhm.
They were in
Oh,
grade
wow.
8. The rest of the
Okay,
guys.
yep.
And we played "People of the Sun" by Rage Against the Machine.
Beautiful.
But anyways, back to high school bands and stuff. I think in grade 10, grade 11, Jason Fritzky and Mitchell Walker from Singe
Okay.
were looking for a drummer.
Got
And Mike gave them my name, and so
Yep.
they hit me up, and I went to a practice with them. And like, it wasn't, like, it was fun, don't get me wrong, and I really loved playing with those guys, and they're
Yep.
great dudes. But it wasn't really what was in my musical taste at the time, basically from the get-go. But it was really good to play with a bit more seasoned musicians that
Right.
could play with each other and write songs,
Right.
and like have like there's like, here's 20 songs that we wrote, learn them, and I'm like, okay, sweet, like
Yeah.
these guys have shows, or we played shows like within a few practices. So
Wow.
that's when I started getting out into town and gigging.
Got it.
I think our first show was at the old Gaiety Theater, which is not there
yeah.
anymore.
What a great time that was.
What a great time.
place.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, it was awesome. It was that's what broke me into the scene here.
Got it. It was, I'm assuming, because of the age. You guys were playing all ages shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aside from the Gaiety, were you guys into like the Compass or C-Spot thing? Was that happening at the time?
No, I think that was done by that time.
Okay.
That was like, I think it was called Beantown
Okay.
for a while after it was the Compass. And then C-Spot was the original one, which was such a hip place.
Yeah.
Really cool. That was a cool time too.
Yeah.
And that was when I was super young, when I was
Yeah.
around 7. I guess I forgot to mention I played in a band with my sister, Emily.
Oh, cool. Okay.
They had like this kind of Celtic rock
Yeah,
band
yep.
called Maiden.
Okay.
And I played one show with them because their drummer couldn't make it or something, or he was out of town, something along those lines. I was 7 years old. So
That's
my first
amazing,
we
man.
played at the C-Spot there, and it was great.
Okay.
It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. But yeah. So I mean, I guess my scene, Grande Prairie music scene, experience started pretty early, around 7. But
Yeah. So that's incredible.
pretty funny.
Did you jam with your sisters a bunch? Did you play with the rest of did you play out with the rest of your family at all?
Not out of
Okay.
the house
Yep.
really, other than that one show
Yep.
I just mentioned. But we jam a lot.
Yeah.
Like me and Emily would jam the most. 'Cause she played mandolin and guitar
Okay.
and bass too.
Yep.
And so and she had a lot of musical friends from town and from Edmonton.
Yeah.
So we knew a lot of songs.
Yeah.
And I think my sisters were the ones who really got me into like hip hop and funk and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
'Cause they
cool.
were really big into that.
Yep.
I didn't really like fully embrace it until like probably the last 10 years or so,
Right.
fairly recently. But yeah, that's kind of where all that started too.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
It's a classic, older sibling passing on music
Yeah.
and bands and stuff thing. That's a
Totally.
time-honored tradition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you remember what the gig was like when you were 7 at the C-Spot?
Yeah, it was dark.
Yeah. Did you play a full drum set? Was it,
Yeah,
percussion?
played full kit. Man, I was just trying to remember if we played any covers, but we did. I just don't remember what they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think I played pretty fast. I was probably pretty nervous.
Sure.
But yeah, I do remember that it was fun. It went by really fast, and a lot of people were pretty happy to see me play out there and at that young. It's pretty cool.
Did you take to performing naturally? Like, were you nervous about doing it, or were you excited to do it? And then obviously we all feel nervous when we're kind of hitting stage or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a weird kid in the fact that like I wasn't nervous for a long time. Yeah, probably up until probably grade 2 or 3 when I was like, oh, I got to get up and sing, and this is horrible, like it just kind of happened. I don't know. Yeah. But I was fearless as a little boy for sure.
Yep.
And because like I was, my whole family was in this play back in 1995. So I was about 6 years old. I was like this like little dancing boy extra kind of thing going on, but I was just like, heck yeah, let's do this. Like, I didn't have any care in the world, but now it's just like, oh man, like, people are gonna think about what my breath smells like.
That's right. They're gonna comment about it later.
Ridiculous.
Looks like
Anxieties,
Which is an interesting thing to consider, like when. I mean, I see it with Lakshmi a lot these days.
Yeah.
She just feels like she's just able to do whatever.
Right, totally.
She started learning piano, and then a couple of months later, they asked, okay, there's like a recital coming up. Like, I don't know if you want to. Even before anyone had finished saying anything, she's like, "Yep, I'll do it. Not only will I play, but I'll sing as well." Just fearless, and
Absolutely.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And interacting with her about things like that, I learn a lot about it because I feel as though. Maybe it's just me. I can only speak for myself, obviously. But as we grow, through adulthood, doing all the things that we do, we pick up these funny little tics, things that we kind of totally like put on ourselves. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that, or you get anxiety about, or you develop anxiety about certain things for a variety of reasons. But man, anytime you interact with a little kid, I mean, it's just the best.
Oh,
they will do anything.
Yeah.
They will be exactly who they are all the time. It's so wonderful.
It's a beautiful thing for sure. I think we always have that.
Right.
It just kind of gets distracted or suppressed in some way. But
Sure.
like I find, like in performing specifically, you get those nerves before you go up, and you're just thinking just every possible thing ever. But then when you get up there, you start playing, you start to loosen up, and then you really kind of like, you just start to discover that you're just giving your gift, you know what I mean? And that's essentially is like the foundation of that, like fearlessness is just like, I'm just putting me out there, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But it there's something in there that, tries to keep that away.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel compelled to perform, or I should say, create and put yourself out there as an artist? Was that a thing that you recognized early on? Do you feel that way now?
Yeah, I feel that way now for sure. I would say for quite a while it was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Validation kind of thing.
Sure.
Which probably has to, kind of goes in part with that nervousness kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like it's, I don't know when I really discovered like, oh, this is what I do, and people really appreciate it, and it makes people happy. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
But I think it was during the time we started playing together where it was like, this is a good thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's gonna like it, but I mean, that's life. But
Totally.
Just I really noticed what it would do to people, and how it would, make them happy, and just like it's just so cool. You can just develop and grow this skill that, I don't know, is so satisfying to not only yourself but to the world. So
definitely. Speaking of, noticing the effect in others, when did you notice sort of the effect in yourself? Like putting yourself out there, performing, putting art out there, and then feeling, I don't know, whether it was good or feeling validated or feeling sort of fulfilled in some way.
Yeah. I don't know any specific time, but I do kind of remember that I was actually alone. And I was just like practicing or something like that. And that's when I knew it's like, this is just, that was great.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like because up until that point, whenever it was, I was like drumming and creating without any kind of conscious thought of creating and bringing a gift or something like that. I would just drum. I would just do it. That's all I thought about it. So yeah, it was like at that point, it's like, oh, okay, like I've come this way, and I'm good enough to really express what I need to express, to put out there. It just, I don't know. It's a pretty profound thing at that time, but like it, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, sure. That's cool. I'm curious about that kind of thing because, we're sitting here in 2019, and you are continuing down that path. You produce, you play, you mix, you master, all that kind of stuff. And for a lot of people who are into music, or maybe they have they take lessons when they're young, maybe they perform throughout school,
right.
They're not compelled to continue with it. It's a thing they do, and they can be very good at it. They can have all sorts of conservatory exams and stuff under their belt,
right.
But once it's done, they don't need it, as some kind of release, or they don't need it to enrich their lives anymore, and so they kind of stop. And even there are people who do kind of what we did back in that time, which is spend like the whatever ages you want to say, maybe gigging around town or something like that, and then they're good. They're like, I did that, I'm good. Now I will pivot to like a career of some sort. But I'm curious about that because again, you're a person who's continued that, which is neat. So I'm always fascinated to hear about it.
Totally. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always, I always want to hear people's stories about that specific thing, or what made them get into music, or what made them decide to make a career of it, and that kind of thing. It's just super cool.
Definitely.
I don't know. It's our lives,
Yeah, it is. That's just it. Yeah. The artist life, as it were.
Yeah, and this photography thing I've been doing lately has been really cool.
Yeah.
Which is like totally new to me in a way. Like, I always took pictures on my phone.
Yep.
But now that I, have this like dedicated camera to like really, there's just a bit more skill to it, and just more room to grow with
Definitely.
that. And it's so cool. It's all the same story, really. But the visual aspect has just been kind of intriguing to me lately. So it's been fun.
Cool. Yeah. How did you get into that? Like, what made you decide, I'm going to get a camera and take it to that next level? Yeah,
I think like I always had cameras. I always like bought really good ones. And mostly I got them for video use. Okay. Yep. Because I wanted to make videos. And I never really did that often. Not much, like, at all. Yeah. I don't know. I think just a small period of time within this year. Yeah. I was just looking at photographs of just on Instagram of like these Instagram photographers and street photography and that kind of thing. And I was like, man, this is great. I want to do that. Yep. Oh, wait, I have the tools to do this.
Exactly. I'm using it for video, but
let's try it out. And so told my friend Patrick O'Connor,
Jimber Jam Studios.
Jimber Jam.
Indeed.
I told him about it. And it's like, man, I've been thinking about doing this. And he's like, dude, I got all these lenses. Try them out. See how it works for you and see what you like. And so we went out one day, and he brought all his lenses because he does most of the video work too. But he's got good lenses because you need good lenses to make video. So I got to play with those and really got to see the difference between them, and all the basics of operating a camera like that. And then I went home that day and just like nerded out on gear and lenses and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I bought a 24 mil lens for my Canon T3i.
Yep.
Which had like bokeh, had that really
Oh,
cool
yeah,
effect,
of course.
which I couldn't really get on the stock lens that I had on it.
Yeah.
And then that was like, okay, I can take sweet photos.
Yeah.
And so I used that for about a month before I was like, I think I want a little bit better detail. It's just like it's a 10-year-old camera. Great. It still takes great video.
Yeah.
Like still to this day. Good 1080p video. But so I did a lot of research, and there was a lot of cameras that were up there on the list. But I went with the Fuji, which a lot of my friends were like, I don't know how to do that. But all of them are video guys.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so I was just like, video is still cool, and I will do it, but photography is still kind of the main thing. So I went with the Fujifilm
Cool.
series of X-series Fujifilm cameras,
Yep.
the XT30, and bought an additional 35 mil lens, which is actually equivalent to a 50 mil on a full frame.
Right.
So great
Did the
lens.
micro.
Yeah,
I got you.
and man, it's been great. Lots of fun. Just nobody does color like Fujifilm, so that's kind of why I went with it, because you can get this like low saturation or super juicy looking nature photos. Yeah,
man.
But it's been fun.
That's great.
It's good way for me to, like, it's weird because you're not really putting something out from you necessarily. You're more capturing light from what I can see.
Yeah.
But whatever kind of provokes some sort of feeling, no matter what it is, I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the inspiration for any of my photos. They're all completely different. They're all fairly random. But it's been cool, man. It's been a fun little thing. So.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed seeing, the photos that you post and stuff. And, I, going back to what you were saying about it being something that provokes a feeling, and you're capturing that scene.
Yeah.
It's such a hyper individualistic thing, because someone else could walk by exactly where you're standing, and it's no big deal. I mean, it looks like another tree or something, but you see something about it in the way, I don't know, whatever it is, the background, the foreground, the light, the mist.
Yeah, exactly. So
and you capture it, and that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I find that exactly like what you just said. Probably nobody's gonna have the exact same feeling I'll have, but I have my feelings, and those are documented, and I like that, but it's pretty cool that if somebody really likes the photo, it still does something. It's you never know if it's not going to be the exact same feeling, but one can hope.
Of course, absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
Do you edit in Lightroom afterwards? What's your process like?
Yeah, just use Lightroom right now. I've played with Photoshop a little bit for just more detail enhancing things, but it's still new to me, so it's awesome and it's really cool. But at the same time, I try to do as minimal editing as I can, really try to keep it as close to the natural image. Sometimes I do go overboard for an artistic effect, and
of course,
and it's turned out pretty good so far, but mostly just Lightroom. I want to try Capture One next, which is the same kind of thing. It's just a different brand.
Got it.
But I'll try that someday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then maybe we can go back to the Grounds to Fall time.
Sure.
That singed into Grounds to Fall into, we gotta do it.
Absolutely.
Calculated collapse.
Totally. Yeah. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
It's funny, when I moved back to town, anytime I'd post like a photo with you or something, there always like a contingent of people who immediately, instantly underneath that will post, like CC reunion, or something like that. Which I'm touched that people still remember, and
that's great.
They're interested.
Yeah. I should have wore that shirt today. I was wearing the Demu shirt today.
It's a good shirt, man.
But I still have both the calculating shirts.
Oh.
think I still have a bag of them that I need to give you.
That's right. Let's figure out a time to do that.
Yeah.
Is it full? Like, is it a full bin of stuff?
It's like a good 10 pounds. Like, it's.
Oh my gosh. You could like work out with it.
Oh, totally.
That's right. Well, geez, maybe it's time for. It's 2009. I mean, it's 2019, and that's like 10 years since really we kind of played our last shows as Calculating Collapse. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should do like a limited run of shirts, or you know what I mean, or something like that.
Totally.
What I really enjoyed, because the shirts they're cool. You know.
Yeah.
They were the best that we could do at the time.
And I think Evan made both of those.
Evan designed both. Yep.
Yeah.
What I really appreciated was your friend Rachel.
That's right. Yeah.
She bought a shirt and she kind of like cut it up and did
That's
a whole
right,
thing to
yeah,
it.
that was
And
so
oh my
sweet.
gosh, it was the coolest.
Absolutely.
So maybe there's a way to level them up somehow,
Yeah.
and then sell them and recoup some money. But I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
Oh, man.
Oh gosh, so taken aback. How did Grounds to Fall come about? Did you transition into Grounds to Fall from Singed, or did you
Yeah.
did you like do both bands for a while?
Right. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember how. I think it had to do with Paul McLean, a good buddy.
Another player in the scene.
That's right. Another
good
player
guy.
in the scene. Chris Guthrie from Grounds to Fall. Paul McLean were in the digital design program at the college.
That's right.
And I think it was through my sisters who were friends with Paul McLean.
Yeah.
They took me into the studio one time, and that's where I met Paul. And Paul was recording Booty Man, which we all just met around that time, because Booty Man's just like, I got songs, so I want to record them. So Paul's like, okay, let's do it. And then, it's like, holy crap, Booty Man is this amazing dude.
Totally. Indonesian reggae artist.
Absolutely.
Folk dude. Oh.
The Rastafarian.
The Rastafarian. What, I mean, talk about branding.
Yeah.
That's got to be everywhere, that word.
Oh, man. Totally.
Okay.
And it was through just hanging out with Paul and Booty. Chris was there all the time, too. And then I think me and Chris were just hanging out, and he's like, I got some songs I'm playing with my friend Jeremy. And then, they're just like, do you want to play? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's try it out. And, Jeremy's such an incredible and unique musician. Like, holy cow. Just a wacky dude. Plays left-handed, which is crazy. And, but just came up with these incredible and beautiful sounding songs.
Yeah.
That was a cool band to be in. It was like, it felt original. It felt like I had a good impact, or not really a good say of what went on in the band, but just like everything came together really well. We just would play together and things would come out great. And then, so we went through a couple bass players, and then it didn't last very long, because Jeremy still had problems with drugs back then. He's doing killer now. He's killing it. He's just doing great.
It's a beautiful family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of was the end of that band.
Okay.
And I was pretty heartbroken. I was like, man, these guys are great, and now I can't play with them anymore.
Yeah. Did you guys gig out? I feel like I saw you play somewhere.
Yeah, we played a few gigs. We played at Howler's a couple times, and we played at this like kind of Christmas show that I think Reject put on at the Center for Creative Arts.
Oh, okay. Upstairs
there, yeah.
Right.
And so we played a few gigs there. We played here at Fred's when John got the place for like probably within the first year.
Yep.
He shut us off while we were playing.
No way.
Cut the power on us.
Oh my gosh.
We were so angry. He's like, no, I'm not having that kind of music in here.
Got
That was like he didn't know that like people listen to that music or something like that. He just didn't. Well, he knew that people listened to it, but he's like, that's never going to sell in this bar. Like we just need rock and blues and
right.
whatever.
Bar stuff.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure it was us with Calculating that he's like, shit, like this metal thing is people come and buy beer and like it's good for the business. So was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty pivotal, I think.
Definitely.
But
Okay.
so yeah, once that band kind of dissolved, that's when Chris like immediately joined you guys. I think because you asked him to play, and he was kind of on the fence because he was playing with me and Jeremy still. And then once that was like over, he's like, "Well, okay, I'll just go do that."
Right.
And then it wasn't long before Chris was like, "Let's get your drummer out of here. I know this better." Yeah, once Justin left the band there, that's when I came in.
Yeah.
But I know we jammed once on stage before Death Before Dishonor played when Justin was still in the band, because we were playing Altar of Sacrifice by Slayer.
Yeah.
Maybe not Altar of Sacrifice. What's that other one?
Soundscream.
Soundscream.
Yes.
That's it.
When was that? What were we doing?
That was at Howlers.
Oh.
Like Grants to Fall. I think we were playing that show too.
gosh.
That's right. Grants to Fall opened up for you guys. You guys were headlining that night at Howlers.
Now, was that just a show at Howlers, or was that the metal fest? Because I put on and then brought Chris. The festival of metal.
Festival of Metal. That's right. Yeah.
Was it that thing?
I think that was it.
Okay, because you know what, that makes sense. I'm sure we were sound checking. I think like Nathaniel's band played. And I realized in previous conversations I couldn't remember the name of this band, but Undecided, right? Like Kyle MacLean,
Undecided,
and Lent,
that's
Chris
right.
Lent, and those guys. Yep.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, Lyle and everybody else.
Wow.
They played.
Did H2S play that one too?
H2S. Thank you for bringing that up. Again, I was like, okay, Dave, Rory, like, what were they called? H2S. Dude, H2S were totally like, I saw them play and it was instant like Sepultura, Roots,
exactly.
that kind of thing.
They played Roots.
Exactly. Like the whole vibe, everything they did. It was so much fun.
Totally.
And yes, Kyle MacLean and those guys, they played, I feel like I saw them play a lot throughout the years in that kind of incarnation.
Right.
I feel like it was the same kind of group of players, focusing on different things now and again. Sometimes it was rock, and they totally, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like they kind of aired on the sort of Megadeth side of things,
Kind
as far
of
as like
Metallica, Megadeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of hard thrash.
Yep,
Yeah.
those guys. And yes, we were sound checking for that. And I think I had recently like committed to buying and using a wireless unit. So I think maybe Nathaniel was like just tweaking sound. And I was like, let me hear what the sound is. I'm like, I wireless. Ah, there we go.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Man, that's such a great song too. I haven't heard that in a while, but what a great tune. Like a lot of that Slayer stuff, it's just good riffing, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. That must have been 2006 fall or maybe 2007 spring, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Before that, I have a glorious memory of like the summer of 2006. Paul and Stacey Brown put together a show at the GP Live Theater. Do you remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
With Booty Man, with like
there's a name for that
sisters,
show. I
with
can't remember what it's called.
Renee played that.
Yeah. I think I played there with Booty Man.
Yeah.
Or was that with you too?
That was I played on a couple of tunes.
Yeah, I think I was playing hand drum.
Okay, got it. I couldn't remember if it was drum set or what the deal was.
Yeah.
That spring and summer, I feel like I got to know you a little bit, your sisters, and like the rest of the GP music scene that I kind of didn't know at the time, because after the No One's Alone period of time, things imploded in a hilarious way with that band, and I found myself spring of like 2006, maybe March or April, like single, without a band, just everything that could have changed that mattered to me in life, like had changed, and it was gone.
Totally.
So
yeah.
It was a period of like trying to figure out what to do, and getting into existential crises. Who am I? What am I doing?
Unleash your anger with
exactly.
metal
That's
guitar.
right. I'll play even faster.
That's right.
I'll play twice as many notes. That's how I'll figure this out. But that summer was a lot of fun because I had such a good time jamming with everybody. I feel like I just ended up hanging out with everyone because I kind of knew like everyone in that scene, and maybe I jammed with Booty Man. I feel like Justin and I recorded a single for Booty Man around the Peace Starts at Home
Yeah, that's right.
time, right? We did a single for him, and I just kept on jamming with Booty Man, and that led to, was it Julie who lived above Al's News at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so jamming there with everyone who was, in that scene at the time.
Totally, yeah.
Playing that show, which was a great show. I'm pretty sure it was like sold out, and it was jam packed. I remember spending weekends just working up the material, and then playing.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Definitely.
And they put on those Christmas shows too.
That's right.
That's right. Those were awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, what a cool community we had.
Yeah,
it's like so many cool people come and go. And it's just, it's really cool,
Yep.
I'm sure there's always waves. I find it's just like, it's like big and awesome and everybody knows everyone.
Yep.
And then a couple people move away and then it kind of like drops and then there's like nothing and then it comes back. Yeah. So when is the next wave?
When is the next wave? It's up to you.
That's right.
It could be you.
It could be you.
That's right. Do you remember this British guy named Patrick, like this older middle-aged dude named Patrick, who was like, he was like pals with like the Rabbit Hole crew. And
totally, yeah.
We ended up playing a show. We put together a show with him singing like a ton of random songs that he had here at Fred's.
Right. I wasn't here for that, but I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Who drummed on that? Because I thought that was you for some reason.
I don't think maybe it wasn't me.
It might have been because I might be just kind of associating everyone together, because it was again your sisters and Kaylee. Right. I think Matt Boucher played some bass. Maybe someone else played bass. Yeah. Patrick played some rhythm guitar and sang. I played probably only electric. I may have played acoustic as well. I'm not sure. Right. But that was like one of those kind of thrown together shows that was basically like we would be hanging out and jamming either at the Rabbit Hole downstairs or at Julie's place upstairs.
Totally, yeah.
And kind of came up with an idea, hey, we should like put on a show. And that was like another like just insanely fun time that summer of 2006.
Yeah. I remember, was Patrick wearing like a weird hat or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was a kooky guy.
Yeah. Like at the show, I might have been here.
Yep.
It's like starting to come back. Yep. I don't know. Smoked a lot of pot in those days.
So did everybody. I think it's the same as now, except now it's legal, so people talk about it.
That's right, yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So I remember, again, having these musical interactions with you. Mm-hmm. And then, because Justin had been drumming in No One's Alone, we had pivoted to just kind of jamming and doing some recording at his place. And so that led to, again, I was playing a lot of metal. I just felt like, playing chops heavy music, and
totally.
Like metal was huge at the time, and I've always loved metal. And I thought, okay, well, I did the rock thing, and I just felt, like playing, and I don't want to say angry music, because for me, like, at least for me looking back, the kind of music, the kind of metal that I gravitate towards and that I write is not necessarily angry, but, it's like emotionally intense, I suppose.
Very energetic.
Right.
It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It just hits hard. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's good.
Thanks. I'll take it, man.
It's very good metal.
And so that's how that started. And pretty soon, again, because we'd played a ton of shows. Yeah. I think chatting with Justin, he had been busy playing with everybody, from playing at Albano's to maybe BJ's, Sharks, when this place was Sharks, and a ton of other places. They had a PA system that would go play a ton of shows through whatever bands he was in. Right. And then No One's Alone, he came on board because our drummer at the time couldn't travel to New York. He couldn't travel into the States.
Stacey.
Yeah, and so we had to pick up actually a rhythm section to go. So Justin Staffen and Brent Hessler. Brent Hessler, what a good guy, by the way. Yeah. Great dude. Killer bassist, excellent harmony singer.
Totally.
Just a fun vibe. So they came along. And then Justin and I just continued to play. I lost my train of thought for a sec because I was thinking about coffee. Oh my gosh. And so that's how that began. And so because we'd been gigging a bunch, we wanted to keep gigging. It's one of those things, like if you're a performer, if you're a player, if you can do the thing on stage in a compelling way, then I feel like when you don't have it, you just things feel weird. You just
totally.
like something's missing in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
So that led to the band that became Death Before Dishonor.
Right.
And then Calculating Collapse.
Yeah.
We jammed together. I think, Sean Zumbush was, we were all kind of hanging out probably at college, or we knew each other from college. And Sean was another fan of metal, which again, if you're like not just a fan of music, but a metal fan, like the metal community is like super tight. It's like you're in a grocery store and you see one other person with a metal shirt and like you just lock eyes, like, I see you.
I think the first time I met Sean and had a conversation with him was at the college at a show, probably the same show we were talking about where we were jamming, and we were just talking about metal bands and stuff. And I can't remember what band he mentioned. I think it was Autopsy. He's like, "You ever heard of Autopsy?" I'm like, "No," and I was still new to that stuff. And it's just like, you put it on, turn all the lights off, and then you'll notice soon that diarrhea will be falling from the walls, and your mom will come in and try to kill you. Like, this guy is so sweet.
Dude, that is such a Sean thing to say.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Oh man, I could write a book about Seanisms. I'll mention another one, and I mean.
Oh my gosh. What a guy.
I won't say all of them for the sake of not embarrassing him.
Of course.
But this one time we were playing in what's that town called? High Prairie. Mm-hmm. We played in High Prairie at a hotel there.
Right.
With.
Oh my God, the THC? Was that them? Oh no, Abandon All Hope.
Abandon All Hope.
Yes,
that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, and our friend Mark LeBay, who was our roadie, who came with us everywhere. We were just hanging out, and then Sean just walks up to us, and he's like, "So, first, what you got to do is you got to make a soup, and then you poop in the soup." And then that was enough for me and Mark to like fall on our faces laughing.
Oh my gosh! So
there's lots of poop. Lots of poop references.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Sean is that he would do all this in a deadpan kind of fashion.
Oh yeah,
like completely unexpected, completely randomly. And I mean, part of you was laughing because it was outrageous and unexpected. And I mean,
so good, so good.
But listening to Autopsy. Oh my gosh. What a thing to say.
Oh, no.
What a way to sell a band.
Yeah.
Listen, guys.
Yeah, I went home and listened to them, too. Like,
awesome.
These guys are brutal. It's
totally.
Awesome. Yeah.
Totally. There was no poop, though, so.
Yeah, no poop,
okay.
but I wasn't holding my poop breath.
Oh, jeez. What a guy.
What a guy.
If Sean ends up here, or if I am, out east sometime, I have to do one of these with Sean Zumbush.
Oh, absolutely.
Who he and his partner have recently welcomed a little girl into their lives.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, a little baby. So amazing. So happy for them.
Me too.
Gosh, what a dude. So Sean, came and expressed interest in jamming in this new metal thing that was happening.
Yeah.
I feel like I had maybe 4 songs that me and Justin would play over and over. And we thought, okay, we want to do this. We want to play, we hate not gigging. Let's do this. So Sean would hang out, and he played bass, and he was a metalhead. So he instantly got what was supposed to happen.
Right.
And so we're like, oh, cool, this is good. I mean, we weren't sure what kind of a band we were putting together, but we decided, okay, well, we have to have a vocalist, So I think maybe we were auditioning bass. You know what? We were auditioning bassists first.
Right.
And I remember...
Jason Bryan was in that mix.
Jason Bryan came out to try out on bass.
Right.
And, it was like... It was great hanging with Jason. And bass-wise, musically, it was... It just didn't click for some reason.
Yeah.
But then I remembered that also Jason was also a vocalist, because he played bass in, I think they were called Seventh Eye Revelation.
That's right.
With Mitch Diesel, Screamin' Pete McNally. I don't know who else.
Jason Greeno.
On drums. That's right. Oh my gosh, what a time!
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. And so I think maybe Jason hopped on the mic and Sean was like, hey, yeah, I'll grab the bass if you want to do that.
Right.
And then it just seemed to make sense that Sean stayed on bass. So
Right.
then we were looking for a vocalist, and I don't know how we knew how we knew John, right? John Jones.
John Jones.
Bones. John Jones.
John Jones Bones. Boner John Jones. John Joner.
And yeah, I struggle to remember exactly how that came about.
Yeah.
But we hooked up with John, and it all made sense.
Totally.
He was more of the death hardcore vocalist, and that definitely worked. He got what we were doing because, again, you're in the scene. You know what this kind of metal needs as opposed to that kind of metal.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think at the time, there were a couple of songs that we continued to play, like Failing Signal, Drifting.
Yeah, that's right.
Something else that had like that melodic death metal, hardcore kind of vibe.
Totally.
And then there were a couple of songs that were, I don't know what they were. They were just songs, that we were trying to write metal. And there was some kind of death metal that had some kind of Lamb of God influence because they were like huge at the time, right?
Oh,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We played a few shows as Death Before Dishonor, and then things were working out. And Justin, in the previous podcast, kind of mentioned that like musically it wasn't like a fit. Like he liked doing what he was doing. He liked metal, but in terms of like just chops, that's not where his strengths lay.
Right.
So he was doing a thing that he could do, sort of, and at some time he was like, well, okay, this is not.
Right.
Where this is going, this is not exactly what's going to be best for me. So we parted ways. We brought Kriska on board before, I think because I'd seen Grounds to Fall and I chatted with you guys a little bit. And musically, Grounds to Fall was, I think you guys had like a Census Fail.
Census Fail, Under Oath.
Under Oath, right.
What's that Canadian one? Post-hardcore.
Alexis on Fire.
Yeah.
He had that vibe, so I knew he had the chops.
Yeah.
And so we brought Chris on board. As you said, I guess, Grounds to Fall was ending, so he committed to that.
Right.
And then we played a few shows. And then when it was time for a new drummer, he immediately suggested, like, oh, well, okay, this is too bad, but Bevin can do exactly this.
Right.
And I don't know, where did we play? We jammed at the college.
Yeah.
Upstairs because he was in the IDD program.
Yeah, it was kind of an audition thing.
Okay.
But it was like, I got the feeling it was just like, let's see, how the playing more than one song kind of chemistry works out.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like it was just what was going to happen. That's just the choice was made.
Yeah.
But, and I was excited. I was pretty
good,
pretty pumped because that was like even closer to what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Because Grounds to Fall was great, and that was like the first taste of like cool, unique kind of band. And I was just playing metal drums over what they were doing, but it was it was appropriate at the time because like bands like Atreyu and those kind of guys were doing the same thing.
Yep.
Seosin, kind of guys.
Seosin, for sure.
And
What's
so
Mosquito doing? Get out of here.
Get out. So but once Chris was like, we don't have a drummer. There's a funny story behind that, but we'll save that. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play some. And then that's where I could really just let loose and boy, did I ever, listening back now, it's like, whoa, a little bit of overplaying going on there. But
dude, that was if you're going to do it.
Yeah, that was right.
That's the time to do it.
It got me to where I am, so.
Yeah. That's fascinating, man. Did you have, songs that you listened to before we jammed? Because I know, we'd done some recording at Justin's. I don't know if Chris would have given you some stuff to listen to, or was it we got together and we'll play through the song so you hear the structure and the riffs, and then
there was there was a few old songs that was recorded at Justin's little studio there, and so I had those to kind of just know where the songs were going. I remember a lot of things within that first day of jamming, it's like, I'm gonna change this. And I mean, it didn't change the structure, it just was a different rhythm and
absolutely
that kind of thing, and it's a lot more intense because because I had a lot of energy to burn.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there wasn't much of that. And then we started writing quite a few things.
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Right, we did that little EP at the college there.
We did. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
I mean, again, it was the beginning of maybe not the beginning, but it was a period. It was towards the beginning of a period of time where we just like got, I mean, at least I got zero sleep because we would practice, we would perform, we would be in the studio at the college as late as we could be before they kicked us out.
That's right.
Just trying to use that studio time to like record and piece things together.
I remember we replaced all the kicks with a MIDI hit by hand.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. Which, if it's a rock song and it's like a few minutes long, I don't know, maybe it's like 100 kick hits, but it's metal. So it's like 7,000.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. And then we replaced snare with Drumagog at the time, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, we did the Drumagog with the full length that we attempted to do.
Which is a whole thing that we'll get to.
That was a whole thing, yeah. But yeah, that one in the college is cool, and it was great to have that. Put that up on MySpace and got a few fans that way.
That was
that's when things started to really move, is when we had those CDs to sell at shows and stuff, because people were like, "Where's the CD?" And we're like,
exactly.
I know, we're trying.
Yeah, exactly. People wanted the physical product.
Totally.
I mean, MySpace was a thing, but it's not like now where people want to load up YouTube on their phone instantly. Tell me about your band. Are you guys on YouTube? Here you are.
That's you.
You'd have to go home and log on your computer and go to MySpace and find the band, or we would email them a link and they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
They would go home, log on their computer, find the link, go to your MySpace.
CDs were still big then.
Absolutely. Which was great.
You have to burn them or buy them.
Totally, man. Man, that's right. That's how it all began. And then at some point, I feel like that was a core group, right? You, me, Chris, Sean, and John. And then and then that was it. We were settled. Okay, this is us.
That was solid. Yeah.
And then we started jamming at the what we called the band house at a certain point in time.
The band house.
Yeah, which was amazing.
Sean's place.
Sean and Evan's place. Prior to that, it used to be Reject's place, right? Like
that's right.
The Joneses jammed there, which was great because, I think Evan mentioned like it was cool that there was music in the basement all the time because it was just a place where that happened.
Even years. After you left town, 2 or 3 bands I was in still jammed there.
Awesome,
so we kept
man.
it going for a bit.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a good spot. It's like one of the struggles back in the day was finding a place to jam. Where do we rehearse? Usually involved moving all your gear, setting up, playing for half an hour.
Yeah.
Because then you had to tear down and drive your stuff home and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we never really had that problem, which was
incredible, dude.
Pretty great. Yeah.
Totally.
Some bands just like would stop because of that. They just couldn't go anywhere, or had to do the silent electronic kit practice, and it's just.
Oh my gosh.
The only way I got better was just sweating it out playing those drums so hard all the time.
Which was amazing. I mean, one of the things I remember about your playing was, your accuracy, your inherent sense of timing has always been sensational. The drumming was very musical again, and because you got what was supposed to happen, I totally, I totally fell to the like the Swedish metal vibe, and like I love that. I think some years prior to that, I'd gotten into At the Gates. I'd gotten into, I think, the Clayman record by In Flames. Around the same time as Wages of Sin by Arch Enemy. And then At the Gates, and then it was like game over. Like, yes, this is the best.
Yeah.
And then when the new wave of American heavy metal hit, like hearing like the first couple of Killswitch records, it's like the 1-6-4 chord progression that is all over Slaughter of the Soul, that's all over Clayman, and it just makes sense.
Yeah,
you just write a chuggy riff, moving between those, and you're like, this is how it should be.
Totally.
This is it. It's good times, good vibes. But our playing got really tight really quickly.
Yeah, it did.
All the songs were kind of chops heavy, and you know, your timing was great. And I feel like because we were all starting to get really good together, I mean, at least for me anyway, you know, I would feel like, yeah, awesome. Like, I'd better practice before we jam because I know everyone's going to nail it, you know, and I don't want to be the weak link kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. It just, there wasn't a lot of thought into like just how well things were played. I think it was just like this, we all just kind of knew there was like that standard we had to have.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, it would like, we wouldn't have let that slide. I don't
That's just
think,
it, man. Exactly. And I know there are times when, you know, we would be working up new material, you know, and I know that, like, I was, again, always obsessed with getting everything with downstrokes.
Right.
And there'd be times when it would just fall off, you know, and, like, you or Chris or somebody would, like, just do the notes and look over, and I'm like,
what's going on?
Come on, sorry. You know, like, it's just downstroke. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's good for forearm development as well.
Totally. We played so much, not just shows.
Yeah, man.
I think we had to have played over 100 shows. I think
easily over 100 shows.
Over 100 shows for sure.
We played tons in town.
Yeah.
We played around town, like you said, High Prairie. We played in Falher. We played in Slave Lake.
Yeah.
Then we started playing in Edmonton. We played a little bit in Calgary.
Yeah, played a couple, two, maybe one. No, two Calgary for sure.
Two in Calgary.
Got one at the distillery and one at the
That's right.
basement of the warehouse.
Yes.
Is that what it was called?
That's right.
So it was a basement of some big club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were tight, and I really appreciated that, and I feel, you know, comfortable saying that because we were, you know.
Right. Yeah.
It's totally. Like the hard work.
And I don't know, like I didn't really play to a click until closer to the end of the band, or really when we just started seriously recording stuff. But yeah, everything was just super tight. I know.
It all just seemed to work, which was the best case scenario, I think.
Totally.
In terms of writing, I feel like I wrote a lot. I don't know if that was like a response to not having, like, no one's alone to write for, you know. Like I wrote anyway, and so everything was just, I guess, now writing for Calculating Collapse.
Right.
And then I think John handled all the lyrics and vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know. What do you remember about the writing process in that band? Because, like, again, I feel like, you know, I have one version of it because I was, you know, doing a thing, but then...
What I can remember specifically was, like, when we were writing... what was that one? The first... fractal side of consequence.
Yeah, whatever that means. Yes, that's.
When we were writing that, I think it started with me, Chris, and Sean. And we did a few riffs. And we were just jamming it out. Somebody had a riff, and then we just built on that. And then you came in and added more to it. And or it could have been the other way around, but. And then, we just kind of build it and get, like, a bit farther, add, like, a bridge or whatever. But it was all done usually in the course of a day. Like, it was pretty quick.
Right. Yeah.
And then, you know, Chris would be like, you should throw more kicks in there or something. Just more kind of, you know, because everybody's getting their ideas out. And then, that's kind of just molded into a song from there.
Yeah.
Like, all the crazy kick parts in Fractal, I wouldn't have thought of unless Chris was like, just fill that part in as much as you like, fit it, squeeze in as many kicks.
Totally. 30 seconds for those two beats. And then
it was crazy. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. We played a lot of shows. We played in Edmonton. We played at the skate park. Or not the skate park, the Avenue Theater. That
Avenue
had like
Skate Park.
Avenue Skate Park. Okay.
Yeah, it was indoor.
There you go.
It was an old movie theater.
Right.
Made into a skate park. Now it's the Avenue Theater, which is now just a concert venue.
Okay.
Apparently, I remember the last time we played there, the pool or whatever, the big
Yeah,
the big skating
half-pipe
pool,
thing, yeah.
which went really deep, was
Yep.
still there under the stage. And they're like, yeah, like, don't jump too hard because you'll fall like 20 feet and break your legs. It's like, oh my God. They just built this like false floor over it or something.
Jeez.
It's so funny. I think they reinforced it
Okay.
later, but it's so funny.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still underneath.
Yeah. I remember playing, I don't know if it was the first time we played in Edmonton or what, but, it was that show when we were playing in the half pipe, and we, Chris,
Yeah.
me, Jay, whoever, like we started running
Yeah,
up and down the
zigzagging,
sides.
yeah.
I don't know how many songs we had, but we weren't even the headlining band. Like there were two bands after us.
Yeah.
But like the crowd, like
Yeah.
they just couldn't get enough of
They
us.
just
And so
loved it,
the
yeah.
promoter was like, they want you. Go play another song. And we're like, we don't have another song.
Yeah.
So we just played something again.
Yeah, we did. Here's the first song again,
Yeah, exactly.
just in case you forgot it.
That's right.
That was
Oh my
great.
gosh.
Those
Which
were
was-
good shows, man.
Those were good shows.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of all ages shows with that band. I remember, like the all ages scene was super duper strong. With
Just everywhere
With-
at the
yeah.
time. Here in town and
Yep.
in Edmonton, like, that was crazy.
definitely, there was a lot of interest in that kind of metal. Whether
Yeah.
it was hardcore, whether it was the new wave of American heavy metal or whatever, right?
Right.
Like people just couldn't get enough. Like Trivium was #1 in the charts at the time.
Yeah.
Kill Switch was winning Grammys. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That got us out a lot of places. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, and then we switched it up with John. I don't
Right.
remember how that worked out, but I feel like John was planning on moving back to Nova Scotia.
There was
Right.
like talk of him moving, and so it's like,
So we had to find,
okay, like, are you going or not? And then
Yeah.
he didn't go.
which was super awkward.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then it's like we kind of got somebody.
Yeah,
you know, like-
exactly.
and so
Yeah.
it was sad because I mean,
Yeah,
I love the guy.
absolutely.
And I haven't talked to him in forever, but
Yeah,
he's a great friend. We'd hang out all the
Absolutely.
time. And but yeah, it just kind of ended fairly quickly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, he took it pretty well, considering.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I mean, he was bummed out for sure, but yeah, that happened. Yeah, super quick.
Absolutely.
And then Jason came and
Jason Bryan.
just he had a scream on him. It was
And-
crazy.
And a lot of energy on stage.
Lots of
like they
energy.
were just different
Yeah.
vocalists, right?
Yeah.
Just the vibe, the
Yeah.
tone. It was just different, And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
never say that one was better than the other,
No,
because they
no.
were just different, and
Yeah.
each of them, played a massive role in what we did.
Totally.
And I mean, again, it's vocals. It's like, and they put the icing on the cake in their own way. With Jason, it was, like you said, he had just this magnificent scream on him, and
Yeah.
his energy on stage was just out of control. Like
Yeah.
the show that we were just talking about at the Avenue skate park, that
Yeah.
was one of the first
Right.
shows with Jason.
That's right. He just
And
went off the rails.
It's,
That's
oh
great.
my gosh. And and he started running up and down the thing, and then Chris joined in, and like the kids were doing it too.
Yeah.
And it was just
That's great.
an insane show.
I think there's footage of that. There was
There's footage
somewhere.
on
It's
YouTube, man.
It's on
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, I think somebody found it one time and emailed me like, "Oh, is this your band?" Or something like
Yeah.
that. I forgot that was there, but
Yeah,
that was
a
an amazing time.
good show.
It was interesting.
I don't think we would have got there without our friends from what were they called? This Very Day on Torque Records.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, Torque Records. We're getting there. Yeah, that's right. So this very day, there was another band. Were there a couple of Torque bands that we started to get to know. It was definitely This Very Day, and we started playing Avenue with them. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they were playing after us at that show, right? Them and
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there was the Butcher's Hand from was it Fort St. John? Were they
Yeah,
from FSJ?
They I think two of them were from Fort St. John,
Right.
and then some were from Edmonton,
That's right.
Calgary, I think.
Yep. And then
And then Becoming the Martyr.
Becoming
from Red
the
Deer.
Martyr. Yes. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Those guys, they had like a video that was on Much, for example.
that's
They had a
right.
bunch of stuff like that going on.
Yeah.
And it was, again, a really just a wonderful time to be in that scene with
Totally.
a lot of these bands who were doing big things, who were, making some waves.
Yeah.
There was also, they were from Vancouver, Stitched in Silence. Remember
Stitched in
those guys?
Silence. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that was actually, in terms of scenes and scene building, I think that was a really cool thing that happened, in the sense that we would all trade shows. We were constantly putting on shows and trading shows with each other.
Big time,
like we would go play in Fort St. John, Prince George, Calgary, Edmonton, wherever, right? At least sort of in the area.
Yeah.
And we would bring them up here. They would stay with us. We would go down to wherever they were, play shows, stay with them, over and over and over again. Did we do the death race with John or Jason? That was a John thing, right?
That was a John one. Yeah,
that was a John one.
That's when we met. All else fails.
All else fails.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember looking them up and noticing that they were like the only other metal band on the bill the whole night. So real quick, the context for anyone, for most people, I guess, the death race is a what would you call it? Like a free-form foot race.
Yeah, it's it's a foot race. Like Ironman's like a triathlon, right? But it's like intense like that. It's just running.
Like the Ironman.
You're going through the mountains. There are bears.
Grand Cache.
Yeah. Like there's like cliffs and mountains and crazy terrain.
Yeah.
And it's like a full day. Like
oh my gosh.
You start like super early in the morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning, and you're done at like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Exactly. And so
it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. But also, good on everyone who preps for that, because I don't know if it is as big a deal now as it was then, but I remember it being just a huge deal. You'd see all the runners and the participants. A lot of them go through Grande Prairie or go from Grande Prairie to Grand Cache, and it was like news for that weekend.
Oh yeah, there's people from all over the world that go there now. Right. Like it's still a big thing.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. And so what happened was there was a show. There was a musical. Like a musical number at the end of the night, so everyone has raced. They've gotten all of that out of their system, and then they just need to let loose.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And so I think the actual show was a battle of the bands, but somebody reached out to us and a bunch of other bands, and I think because we were heavy bands, the night ended with us and then All Else Fails.
That's right.
And I looked All Else Fails up. I don't know if anyone else had, but I remember looking them up and thinking, "Whoa, these guys are so good!
That's
guys,
right.
we'd better be extra good, because these guys are pros."
Yeah.
And they were. I mean, they've always been so good, man.
Yeah, they're still going. Go check them
absolutely.
out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know if we met them beforehand, but we certainly chatted with them after the show, and it was just like instant band friendship.
Yeah. They came up to us. They're like, "Man, you guys are so good. You guys are like Chimera."
Right. Chimera. Oh my gosh. Remember watching the video content on the Resurrection album?
Yeah.
Like that extra DVD thing that came with it?
Yeah, Sukov.
Them working with Sukov and Andy Sneap.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, just epic times, man.
Totally.
2 cats who defined the metal sound for like the entire generation, really.
Absolutely.
Jason and Andy, just legends, dude.
Yeah.
But that show was amazing again, because I remember the crowd just going off. I don't know how many people were out front, but it was an outdoor show, like an amphitheater kind of a stage. Like it was like Stone or something, right?
Yeah.
There was, we had all of our gear there, and there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out front. And they rocked for the other bands. And then when we hit, and, we went into just, fast, heavy metal.
Yeah.
Everyone instantly filled up in front of us, and they just went off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That was like, big stage, lots of people. That was like
lots of room to move around, right?
Probably my first taste of a big crowd like that.
Yeah. Big sound too.
Yeah.
Like
All Star was doing the sound, and it's just like
exactly
aggressive.
When you hit the kick drum and you hear it go out there, like hitting a low C, open C on guitar, and it's just like it's a beautiful thing, man.
Totally.
So around that time, we had become aware of Torque Records.
That's right.
Torque Records.
Well, all those bands we pretty much mentioned, except for All Else Fails. We're on Torque.
We're on Torque.
Funny thing is that they were like, Torque had a pretty damn good thing going. As far as the scene looked like and whatnot, like all these bands, like I always questioned the quality of recording,
Yeah,
quality
absolutely.
of the videos.
Yep.
But these guys were playing everywhere, and we made friends with them, and we got so many gigs out of all these bands on this label.
Totally.
So when we got approached, I think, right?
Yeah.
We got approached. We're like, kind of a no-brainer,
Yeah.
but
Seemed like the thing to do.
yeah. And I think maybe that really was the case. I think he was doing kind of a good job, and then
We screwed it up for them. And I'm kidding.
I think we were just in the last
Yeah, totally, man. We
last pile of guys that
Yeah.
are the start of the bad shit.
Totally. And I mean, at the time they had Means, right? Like Means was on.
That's right.
I don't know. There were a couple of other bands, like maybe the Chariot.
Yeah.
But somebody like the Chariot was on Torque for a while.
There was Means was like had some sort of distribution deal with Torque, or it was the guitar player solo stuff that was definitely on Torque. Because they're from like the same town,
Right.
and something like that.
Right.
And then I don't know, I can't remember. Maybe something with the Chariot. But the distribution deal with Universal was kind of like
That was the
through
Carrot.
Victory Records,
Yeah.
and so that's where everything kind of connected. And it's like,
Totally.
oh, sweet, there's a global distribution deal. We're in the
Yep.
same distribution deal as whatever bands were on Victory at the time. I can't
Dude.
remember anyway.
I mean, that was those were the salad days, right?
Yeah.
Of that whole scene of Victory Records,
Yeah.
Hopeless, like a bunch of those record labels,
Right,
and Torque were directly tied to them. And so when, they showed up, because we had friends who were in bands, and plus friends and bands who were signed to Torque, plus some of the bigger bands making waves tied to Torque,
Right.
it seemed like, yes, this is what we should do.
Right.
And so I feel like this is the lessons learned in the music industry side of things. Dealing with Kevin Gates or Gales.
Kevin Gales. Yeah.
Dealing with Kevin Gales was weird off the get-go, and that should have
Yeah.
been like a red flag immediately.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone else who had dealt with him, like they were nice. Like nobody
Yeah.
wanted to sort of talk shit about anybody,
Yeah.
and so they were kind of like, oh, like cool, like, oh, you guys are, we might be all on the same label. That's pretty cool.
Right.
But then dealing with Kevin, there was a disconnect.
Right.
The vibes between all the bands were good. Dealing with Kevin, emailing with him, talking with him on the phone, it seemed cool. But then there were always, I don't know, man. There was just always something there.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what your feeling was at the time, but
It just, things weren't happening the way you would expect on,
Right.
like, it was, I don't know, like there was a lot of it, like initial, it was just like all the, like, this is what you're going to get, all this cool stuff. You're going to get like endorsements and
right.
you're going to get tours and blah, blah, blah through so-and-so and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, of course.
Of course. Sign us up.
This is what we want to do.
Yep.
And then, and then when like the recording, like talks of recording started, it's like, okay, I'm going to need this amount of money or something. And you come to my house and we'll record it. And, like, yeah, okay, well, that's where you did everybody else's stuff. And we'll, try to get the best out of it and maybe help him get a good quality product or blah, blah, blah. And then, we got there and he bought us breakfast and we met the guy and we're like, this guy doesn't look anything like we thought at all.
Bad vibes.
And then it's like, we go there and it's like, my computer's broken. We can't record. We gotta wait. And it's like, dude, we drove like across 2 provinces to fucking get here and like we can't.
Yeah. Canada is a really big country, and you can't just drive from here to Saskatchewan like it's no big deal. I mean, it's, we drove 9 hours to Calgary because I think you, me, and John went to Opeth 3 and Dream Theater.
That was
incredible show.
to me.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh.
that was
What
such
a
an
bill.
incredible bill,
And
man.
we were so inspired and
Yeah.
excited.
Oh yeah,
We were doing
start of
this
a great trip.
shared experience, great trip leading to us recording our album for a label because we're now signed and things are exciting.
Yeah.
We get there, all that stuff. I mean, and again, driving from Calgary to see him, I mean, it was like another 9 hours or something.
Yeah.
Like it was. It was a lot of driving.
Long damn drive.
It was a lot of work, and
We hauled all our gear too.
we hauled all of our gear.
Yeah.
We, all of us had to take time off work. It was totally a situation where, we would travel on the weekends because we needed to work to fund what we were doing.
Right.
And so it was the same kind of thing. I think we'd all combined, and tried to schedule all of our time off together to go do this thing.
Right.
And then we get there and it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then we have to drive home.
With nothing.
With nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Some bad vibes.
I had to miss my
or weird
girlfriend's
vibes.
grad.
Dude.
Like,
Of course.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
bad
man.
enough being like, I can't be here for it. I have to work, but
Yeah.
and then like not like missing it for nothing. Like,
And that's just it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Missing for nothing.
Yeah.
I think maybe at that, sort of around the time that we had breakfast with him, maybe we hatched the plan that, okay, look, we are all capable of, doing some recording, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we record at home?
Yeah.
Since, you don't seem to have a computer that works, something has happened, some things have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Like we still really want this to happen. Like, go team, come on,
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
we can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
There
we can still salvage this, right?
Yeah, there's no giving up.
No giving up.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh. And so we came back here, set up to record in the band house. We rented a bunch of gear from GP Music, and we started recording. When would that have been? Like 2008? Or did we record in 2007 into like January 2008 or something?
It was 2008 or at the end of 2008.
Into 2009.
Yeah, I think we started late summer with drums,
Oh, that's right.
and then took us
my
all
gosh.
pretty much all winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I remember, we were supposed to communicate with Kevin regularly to, check in, send
Yeah.
him like demos now and again.
Yeah.
And he was just impossible to get a hold of. We would talk to
Yeah.
him on the phone once in a while. I think, again, I can only speak for myself, but I think,
Yeah.
it would seem like, okay, we've talked to the guy. Oh, okay, like sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the task, like we can do this, guys.
Yeah.
But red flags all around.
Yeah, and like it was weird because I think like initially I think he just was too lazy. He didn't want to work. He didn't want to record.
Yep.
Didn't want to do that part of the job. When we were like, we can do it. He's like, yeah, sweet. Okay, sweet.
Perfect.
Awesome. And then throughout that whole time and process, I knew, like, I just had this feeling. He's like, he just thought what we're going to put out is total crap.
Yep.
It's not going to be releasable.
Yep.
All this stuff. I mean, when you compare it to his stuff, even what we got done was worlds better.
It was way better. I even
insulted him one time. I was like, your quality is not what we want. And he's like, he took
100%.
that. I mean, I guess, yeah, you would take that personally, but I was also a stupid kid. But
I mean,
but it was like, it was true. We
was
didn't
true.
want that bad quality sound.
Yeah.
We wanted good product.
definitely. We should take a minute and pat ourselves on the back for the job that we did, because we busted our butts.
We sure did.
We busted our
'cause
butts.
I think as far as the relationship in the band, that's when things got real. That's when things.
Yeah.
That's where it started to get tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like little things were popping up, as they always do.
Yeah.
It's just things always pop up, and I think the situation didn't help. Obviously, the situation probably
Yep.
exacerbated every little thing, because
Yeah.
we were signed to a label, which was great.
Yep.
But we were getting nothing from the label, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
We would talk now and again to the label and seem like, okay, there's going to be something at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Right.
And then we'd go back into a room, just, all of us together,
Yeah.
putting in as much time as we could, all of our extra time,
All
not
the time.
sleeping for, I don't know, man, 4,
We
5,
didn't-
6 months.
We
Like,
didn't
I
play
don't
any
know.
shows.
We
Like
didn't play any
We didn't
shows.
have any kind of we didn't have anything. Nothing was showing us like that we were doing something.
Yep.
There was no kind of progress. There was nobody saying, "You guys are killing it. You guys are doing a good job."
There's no feedback.
None of that. So it was just like this stale, stagnant kind of.
Yeah, man. It's the
brooding.
Of course, the thankless task of
Yeah.
recording stuff, editing stuff, recording guitars,
Yeah.
editing guitars. I remember we went through a process where we then re-recorded all the guitars because of tones or something, recording bass and
sampling
working
drums.
Yeah, for sure.
All that stuff.
Working in such close quarters for that long.
Yeah.
Again, because there was seemingly no light at the end of the tunnel after a while.
Right.
It was just brutal, man.
Yeah.
It was wearing us all down, and
Totally.
hindsight is 20/20, of course. But
Yeah.
at the time, it's like we were all invested in it. So, like, what are you gonna do? I don't know.
I think we were, let's say, in over our heads in certain aspects. But
Yeah.
I think there were things that we tried to do that we're hoping would make a better quality product, but it ended up making it worse, and like those kind of things. But
Yeah.
a lot of arguments and some, close calls.
Yeah, of course, man.
But
of course.
that happens. And,
That happens.
and it's the getting through it and going for the main purpose is what keeps you going.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good experience. I wouldn't have changed it really. Like, it's a big learning experience for sure.
I gotcha. I feel like after moving away, being in Boston, maybe when I was in Boston, but definitely a couple of years after, I kind of like look back at that time and like, again, in hindsight, I don't know how everybody else felt about everything, because when things ended, like I moved away, and so mentally, like I just had to sort of get some space from everything, and that has nothing to do with anybody else.
No.
But like looking back at that, I just like, man, I felt really bad about a lot of stuff, because I feel like for me, I definitely pushed really hard in that band to make a lot of things happen, and because of that, I felt really terrible about that whole experience.
Right.
Like on one hand, I felt like yes, it was a good learning experience, but like we pushed ourselves to the absolute max, and I know I was a big part of that. And I just felt like garbage. Like, oh man, like why did I make those guys do this stuff?
Well, I think I was
know, man.
as far as like intensity and pushing through, I think I was, if not more, like, or at least I felt that way. But like I know it was a lot on our newer guys like Jordan and Sean Streeper.
Oh, we of course, and that's the other thing too. We played with Jason. Jason was totally on board while the Torque stuff happened, correct?
Yeah.
And at some point after that, when things started to unravel a little bit with that situation, I feel like, we wanted to do some touring. We played through BC.
Yeah.
We had like this, Western Canadian bunch of shows that we did.
Basically from Edmonton to Nanaimo, that first little half.
That's right. That's right.
Fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We were all in your Jeep.
Oh, dude, I
Which
know.
was squishy.
Squishy. We were all, talk about close quarters, man.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
all squishy.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And then Jason couldn't go.
Yeah.
Again, excuse me. It was one of those situations where, we all have to take time off work. We all have to pay bills, and somehow we're trying to push.
Yeah.
And because we were like a signed band,
Right.
we felt like we had to still push.
Just
We've
do it,
had some
yeah.
time to go play some shows. So to not play shows seemed like a terrible thing to happen. And so I think that led to the split with Jason, partly.
Yeah, I remember before we went on on that big tour, before we left, Jason, he was like, yeah, let's get coffee. I want to talk to you guys and talk to us. And he's like, we need to postpone the tour. I can't do it. I can't afford it.
Right.
And we're like, man, it's booked. Like, we have to go. Like, it's you or not.
Yeah.
So he came for the first half, and then I think that was it. He was like,
that was it.
He just couldn't. I mean, if you can't be with people that close and for that long, like,
exactly.
Yeah, don't do it.
It totally. I mean, it all makes sense in hindsight, right?
Yeah, totally. That was the coolest coolest tour for sure. That half was just so scenic and beautiful, and it was like perfect.
Totally.
I think it was like August to September, I think.
Yep.
And it was so hot down there compared to Grande Prairie. So it was beautiful weather. Man.
We'd like camp and swim in lakes.
Yeah, dude. Man, that was so much fun.
And then play some shows.
Yeah.
But just prior to that, I totally skipped over. We parted ways with Chris Guthrie, you know?
That's right, yeah.
You know what? Oh, dude, okay, so we're jumping around real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So before that,
Yeah.
the Torque thing just all came undone, right?
Yeah.
We finished recording, and suddenly there was nothing because I think Kevin sent out an email to all of the bands saying that, like his daughter had some
I was
illnesses
going to
and
mention that, yeah.
kind of like hitting everyone up for money and
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. And then a bunch of bands just kind of were straight up like, look, like,
Yeah.
you've like ripped us off essentially. Like
Yeah,
the
like
truth is,
We haven't gotten anything from you, and now you're
Yep.
asking us to help you
right?
when you haven't helped us
Exactly.
at all.
Yep.
Like,
And then a lot of stuff kind of came out, like, some of the bands who had things going, like, print ads, video stuff. Turned out like much of the weight was on them to carry water for all those things.
Right.
Like they did all the legwork. It's not like, Kevin had set them up with like alternative press or set them up with Much Loud. Like they put in the work to get factor grants and make that stuff happen. He may have facilitated getting a crew to make a music video, but they did a lot of the work, you know?
Yeah, and he never... He said he would do all that.
He said he would do all that. And so then suddenly we all discovered, like, oh, it's not just us who are being screwed over.
Yeah, because I think Chris or you was like talking to another band we never talked to before.
Yeah.
It's like, what's your take on this guy? And they're like, we haven't gotten anything or something like that. Or he only did just this for us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it.
Nothing else.
And that was like the thread that started unraveling everything, And then we kind of followed up with everybody else that we knew. We had gotten hooked up with, I think, Josh Schroeder at the time to mix the record, something like that.
Yeah, well, because
Or was that much later?
Kind of. Like within the Torque stuff, some of the best sounding groups on there that were kind of like, they weren't exclusive Torque bands. They were distributed through them or something like that, or promotion or something.
And the next level bands for us. In a way.
And they all sounded pretty good. Like, and one of us clued in that pretty much all these bands were working with Josh there.
Yeah.
And the Hester Prynne, those guys
Hester
were sweet,
Prynne,
man.
that's right.
I don't know what happened to those guys, but they were really cool.
Yeah. Incredible sounding records,
Sweet
too.
band name, too.
Oh,
pretty
my gosh.
jealous of that.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so then right through our album making, we sent it to Josh to get mastered because Kevin's like, "We'll send it. This is my guy. He'll do your mastering." I'm like, okay, sweet, yeah, he sounds good. And we send it to Josh, and he's like, "Some of the intonations off on these, like it's pretty bad. Like if you can redo it, then you should." We're like, okay, and then that was right before we went on the tour. That was in 2009, summer.
You and I re-recorded a bunch of stuff, like downstairs at my parents' place.
That's right. So Josh gave us that news.
Yep.
We went on tour, and when we got home, we're like, okay, you know what? Let's take some of these songs, redo them from scratch. Basically, I don't think we redid the bass, and I don't think we redid.
Didn't.
I think we kept some of Chris's old guitars, maybe.
No, we re-recorded all the guitars.
We kept some of his old vocals.
Yep.
And then Jason's old vocals as well.
Yep.
We redid drums.
Yep.
And then we just sent it to him to mix and master, and that was good. That was great.
Yeah.
Great. That was the quality we wanted the whole time.
Absolutely. It was loud. It was punchy. I mean, the tones were like what they should have been. At that time. Exactly.
Dated.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Jeez, man.
I felt good. I felt good about those when they were done. Yeah.
When that was done. Exactly. And that was, and all that happened after any semblance of a relationship with Torque was done. Like it was over.
Yeah.
Things were
just like, we're on our own now.
We're on our own.
Doing this.
Very soon he disappeared. Kevin
he just vanished.
Disappeared. He vanished, leaving everyone hanging with a ton of everyone's money. And So take notes, learn from this.
Yeah.
Don't do these things. I guess maybe for me, the biggest thing is, there are two things. One is trust your gut, and don't be afraid to walk away, right?
Yeah.
Like that's, at the time, I would never have thought of that because I wanted it so bad. I feel like we wanted it so bad, right?
Oh,
But the situation was not,
No.
it's not ideal.
No. What's funny is that I just watched this documentary the other day about the man behind Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Oh, yeah.
Lou something.
Yeah, dude.
Have you seen the movie?
I have. Yep.
It brought back a lot of memories.
Yes.
Because it's like how much, like, what was this label built on?
Yep.
Like, probably stolen money. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same story.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Is he in jail? I don't know.
I
Kevin,
don't know,
wherever
man.
you are,
Kevin Gales.
just I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to threaten him.
That's right.
That was a bad move, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's not a cool thing to do.
No, that was not.
Left a lot of broken hearts.
Yeah.
I think this happens everywhere. People get their hearts broken, but I feel like toying with artists is an especially sad and brutal thing to do.
Yeah.
Because like until somebody's huge, they put in everything they have with no payback at all.
Yeah.
And so to take advantage of people at that point, man,
Oh,
it's like
man.
it's pretty low.
Yeah, like paying NSYNC. What is it like? They're like, we're finally getting our paychecks, and they each get $10,000 each.
Right.
That's like below minimum wage after selling like 3 million records.
Absolutely.
Like, isn't that insane?
Yeah.
That's, just crazy.
It's a bad move, man.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It was never okay.
No.
Kevin, it's not okay.
No, it's not.
So yeah, around that time, we parted ways with Chris Guthrie, and Jordan Lorenz came on board. And Jordan, I feel like, Jordan's always had the best vibes. He's always had
It was good.
extremely good vibes. Yeah.
Always
good
funny
addition.
and happy. And
Yeah, man. Great guitarist. He played in John Jones's other band, right?
Right.
Remember he had a death metal, black metal sounding band.
That's right. Did Kyle play in that one too?
Kyle played in that one. And Sean played bass in that, didn't he? Streeper, or maybe Streeper was vocals. I don't know.
He ended up doing.
John was vocals, but yeah.
Sean ended up doing vocals for that band.
Right.
The Sickness Within.
Yes, Sickness Within.
That's
They were
crazy.
great, man.
They were great.
They
were awesome.
I remember seeing them. We played a show with them at the Gaiety
Right.
around the time of the Kevin
Right.
Gales recording stuff, and
Right.
Jordan stuck out as again just having great vibes, positive attitude, and being able to bring it on stage, which was good.
Totally.
And so we got Jordan on board, parted ways with Jason. Sean came on board, and we re-recorded the EP, or we had a full length that we
Right.
pared down into an EP.
Yeah.
We sent the EP to Josh Schroeder at Random Awesome Productions, who does quality work to this day.
Absolutely.
Incredible dude.
Worked with King 810.
Oh gosh, those
pick
records
out-
specifically are so
Sounds so good.
awesome. Yep.
Just sonically crushing. Yeah.
And then we booked and embarked on a cross-country escapade
Yeah.
with Sean Streeper on vocals, Jordan on rhythm guitar, yourself, myself, Sean on bass, and Mark LeBay.
Oh man, that was
Roadie
good. Good to have Mark on the road with us.
It
there.
was. That tour was brutal because it had
Yeah.
some high points,
Yeah.
and then like so many of the shows fell through sometimes at the last minute.
Yeah.
And we were the last to hear about it, which was just crushing.
Yeah. Like,
And again,
we had Quebec shows, all of them tanked.
those tanked, so we couldn't get out to Nova Scotia where we still had shows.
Yeah.
And then we had to cancel those shows because we couldn't afford to drive
No,
from
we
Toronto
were like literally
to Nova Scotia.
The next show would get us to the next show.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And
yeah.
so yeah, we came home with $5.
Yeah.
We came home with $5
Yep.
from Edmonton. Oh no, from Grande Prairie to middle of Toronto.
Yep.
Toronto was our last show.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun. I'd do it again for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
it wasn't. Yeah, the mood was lower, I think.
Yeah.
But how do I explain it? The overall mood was lower, but spirits were still high.
Yeah,
like
I hear you,
Jordan
man.
and Mark and like
Yep.
everybody was still like laughing and having a good time.
Definitely.
It was just different feeling than the BC one. I think the BC one was just there was more energy from nature and just
Absolutely.
like the scenic views and the heat and
You bet.
yeah, but both were kind of different, even though it was considered the same tour because there was a bit of a break in between the BC and then the eastern half, but like completely different.
Completely different, yeah.
Really cool.
Definitely, man. I feel like, again, speaking just for myself, like, there's only so much disappointment that one can take,
Yeah.
like shows falling through,
Yeah.
more shows falling through,
Right.
and then having to sort of reroute things while we've already headed out.
Yeah.
That takes its toll. And I think, again, kudos to everybody for just having the best attitude about it. I feel like we made the best of a situation that, at times was very testy.
Totally.
And also at the same time, I have some beautiful memories of just being with all you guys, just
totally.
time spent together, fun times, goofy times, and some really good shows, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, all that tempered with, shows falling through, promoters not getting back to us about things that already were supposed to be locked down, and then showing up and finding that it was not happening, and then, playing some shows. Like the one in Toronto, for example, the promoter stiffed us at the end of the night. Like,
that's right.
We got zero. She disappeared, and there was nobody who could pay us. And it was like, maybe we would have gotten $100 or something,
right.
but that's gas for our van, to start getting us back home at the time, because we knew that, the other shows were falling through.
Yeah. I was jobless at the time, too. I had no money.
Well, dude, and I mean, that's the thing. That was the cycle for not just us, but I feel like a lot of the bands, a lot of people would work several months out of the year, and then they would either take a couple of weeks off or they would quit that job, tour, across Canada or as much as they could for a couple of weeks because that's all they could afford, and then come back to town, wherever that was, and find new work or try to get their old job back and do it over and over again.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. That's for sure. I wanted, and I know what I was getting myself into, and I wanted to get as far as I could. Yeah. And I was young enough to to be in that position too. Like,
sure, absolutely.
When you get older, it gets tougher. You have more bills, or you have children, or that kind of thing.
Life. Life just picks up.
For sure.
So we have to wrap it up time-wise pretty soon, Bevin. Yeah. But I feel like maybe that's a good place to pause. Yeah. There's like a lot more that I would love to chat with you. Like, finishing up that time of our band time together, and then also everything you've done since, which is like a lot of amazing stuff, and all the work that you do now. Yeah. Can we call this part one and then do part two sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. Is there anything that you're working on right now or that you've just completed that you want to throw a shout out to? I can throw links at the bottom, of the video or something like that.
Yeah, you can check out a couple things. You can check out the new All Else Fails stuff that I worked on. That was done in the winter, but Monday is the Edmonton Music Awards, and they just got nominated.
Awesome, that's great.
Metal Recording of the Year or something for that stuff.
Cool.
We worked on together, so that's awesome for those guys, and wish them best of luck.
Heck yeah.
And check. There's a new record out from the Shelter Hounds. Actually, the record's not out yet, but they have a single or two out now. Okay. But go check that out. It's if you're in the '90s grunge kind of rock.
Sounds great.
It's great stuff, man, for sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Okay, man. Well, thank you so much, Bevin. I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
I appreciate your candor, and it's always good to see you, dude.
Absolutely.
Let's do this again, and then we'll talk further.
All right. Cool.
Thanks. See you later. Good night. Guys. Goodbye. Next time, come back. Oh, before I forget, I haven't said it yet. That this recording. It's your boy. No, I'm kidding.
It's your boy.
But do in fact hit subscribe and smash that bell.
Smash fucking bell.
stay updated. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit like, give it a share. It helps it get around. I feel like we mention a lot of people in these conversations, and if you're listening, by all means, reach out to I don't know, yell at me for things that I got wrong or whatever, or if I've painted you unfairly, which I don't think I have. Okay, but anyway, thank you for your engagement. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.